Well, we were talking about meth heads and trouble, around how dangerous Kansas is getting. But have you ever thought of something like this?
I don't know. Show me, Shim.
Southeast Kansas man arrested for throwing bricks and a banana in an alleged assault.
Slinging that banana.
Can you imagine just being so mad at somebody you're just like, here's a banana.
Why is it just sitting around? Around the bricks, I guess I should say.
This is from KSNF Joplin. Southeast Kansas man arrested for throwing bricks and a banana in an alleged assault.
What's their name?
Oh, no, the Parsons police. I got family there.
That's where Tell's from.
Yeah, me too.
Tell's just
Don't tell anybody.
Tell's over there sweating, and we get done with it, and he's like, that's my cousin.
Maybe I don't want to know their names. Just kidding.
Parsons police said they arrested a repeat offender over the weekend following an alleged assault. An officer with PPD responded to a disturbance call Sunday afternoon after a caller reported a fight between family members. Traffic stop in Labette County. The alleged victim, a 62-year-old man, told the arriving officer that a 37-year-old man had hit his truck parked nearby before throwing 2 bricks and a banana at him. However, he had...
When you run out of bricks, let the bananas fly, boys.
What would possess him? Like, why would he be so mad that he's like, I have to throw these bricks, but now that I'm out of, I used the other 3 bricks, so now I'm going to throw this banana at him.
He's probably just eating a banana and minding his own business on his porch that's dilapidated and shitty, and somebody hit his truck, so he just reached over and grabbed a couple of loose bricks, threw them, couldn't get another loose brick, so he just threw the banana he was eating. I mean, that's got to be what happened.
I mean, surely, yeah, it had to been eating it, right? It wouldn't just be sitting there.
Or maybe he's a felon, can't carry a gun anymore, but he wants people to think he has a gun, so he keeps a banana holstered. You know what I'm saying?
We got to keep all options open
And
here.
then when in doubt, go to the holstered banana.
He was either eating it or it was holstered.
Right,
I
those are the only
don't
two
think there's
options.
anything...
There's no other option.
Because I just don't see bananas laying around in Parsons, Kansas.
Not a lot of banana trees there in Parsons, Kansas.
No.
I can tell you that.
You got to go to Pittsburgh to get some bananas.
They got a lot of bananas over
Maybe
there.
that's what Big Brutus was doing out there.
He's digging bananas.
Dude, I just wish that this guy wouldn't be like, why? I wish that he wasn't throwing bananas at random guys, 62-year-old men.
Hey, it was domestic. He knew him.
I wish that he would just take a handful of bananas and go throw them at homeless people so they'd have something to eat.
Yeah, listen, nothing better than an old mashed up banana, huh? No teeth having meth heads. They love a nice mashed
No
up banana.
kidding. Get that down.
They'll gum it down, huh?
Dude,
It ain't great down there.
it ain't great, dude. Parsons is a rough town.
That is.
That wouldn't be my spot to live down there in Southeast Kansas.
Listen, I graduated from a town 10 miles south.
What high school?
Labette County High School.
Oh, okay. Well, they call the college the same thing there.
Yeah, but that's in Parsons.
Okay.
The college is in Parsons. Our high school is just south of there.
I don't know what it is about it. I've just never got good vibes there. And again, my parents both went to Pitt State. They liked it down there. Tucker went to Pitt State. He liked it down there.
Here's just what I wish I would see more of.
Demons?
When I see just people randomly throwing bananas. There's so many people starving in the world. There's so many homeless in our country. Don't throw bananas at your family members, no matter how much you hate them.
Right, don't waste food.
And I don't like a lot of my family. There's people that don't like a lot of their family, but I would never throw a banana at them. Throw some rice at them.
Or at least if you throw an apple,
Rocks.
you can turn it into
Rocks
sauce.
are free.
Rocks.
Apples, you can turn it into sauce after
Yeah.
you hit them.
Yeah.
You know, you're halfway to sauce.
But
I agree.
Price is wrong, bitch.
But people when people are throwing canned goods and bananas and things of that nature, don't throw it at your family members. Throw it at the homeless.
I don't hate the canned good thing though, because odds are it's still gonna be usable. You know,
That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, does your family member that you really don't like need a can of beans to the head?
maybe they're homeless too. You don't know.
Well, I know, but for a family member, I would prefer to throw something like like a hot pocket or something at, because they more than likely have a microwave to heat it up with.
Mm-hmm.
That's another. I don't get why these homeless initiatives, they always give them like frozen foods. They always give them like hot pockets and frozen pizzas and shit like that. They can't cook that shit. How are they gonna cook a frozen pizza?
Hey, open fire. I made a pizza over an open fire before. It's pretty good.
Throw bananas at them. Throw oranges. Throw a can of
Beans.
peaches, beans.
Yeah.
Hey,
Throw it.
Barbecue beans.
Hey, maybe that's the thing we just start. Instead of like the Flint Hills drives in the background, we're just going to go around Wichita, and every time we see a homeless person, we're just going to throw bananas. And we're going to throw fucking canned food. There's like holding a fucking dollar, like holding a sign that says pregnant woman, just pregnant wife at home, starving. Just hit him with a handful of, canned beans. Hey, here's for you and your kids, let them have it.
Yeah.
Is it worth sitting on the corner now? How's that sound?
Give
hey,
them,
two purpose: feeding them, clean up the streets at the same time.
give them something perishable though, so that they'll actually eat it, not just try to peddle it.
Right.
You could throw them a can of beans, and they go try to sell them beans for a little hand of smack. They don't need that shit. Give them bananas.
The pawn shops.
Throw
in
them
Wichita,
bananas.
You're right. Maybe beans are too valuable.
The
Should we
pawn
do-
shops in Wichita get flooded with cans of beans after us. They're in there. All the fuckers are in there pawning their cans of beans.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't too far, but maybe black-eyed peas.
I did see a thing where like
Give 'em
a
a little
canned
look.
good fits perfectly in one of those t-shirt cannon guns.
Oh, God.
So, we could go around and just make sure everybody gets a little.
If you had one with a lot of power that would be able to move that much weight, it would kill people. I'm pretty sure.
You start it out, and it's kind of funny. Maybe you do it on the TikTok, where they're like, look at these people. They're throwing fruit at people. They're throwing fruit at the homeless, and they're helping them. And then you get like Johnny Cueto and some other people to come out there, and they're like pitching the can of beans to them. Or not beans, but...
Yeah, we're off the beans. Beans aren't good. We tried that.
Yeah, I mean, like peaches, pineapple.
Right. That's like
Whatever.
the thing where they asked Randy Johnson if he had a gun for home defense or whatever. And he's like, no, I just have a bucket of baseballs sitting next to my
Yeah.
bed. I'm like, dude, can you imagine? Like, you don't know it, but you break into his house and a 100-mile-an-hour left-handed pitch that killed a fucking dove is flying by your head. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get that out of here.
Royals just got to play in the Red Sox, and they have, which is funny, the Royals just had him a year or two ago. Actually, I think he was a part of the trade to get Cole Reagans. But Aroldis Chapman plays for the Red Sox right now. This dude is like 37, 38 years old. It's wild how fucking fast he's flinging fastballs still.
I mean, when he came up with the Reds, he was throwing 105.
I mean, he's still throwing 102 miles an hour.
And a scary human being.
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't know who he was, you had no idea who he was. He's got that neck tattoo and shit. He, like, walked into a bar and he just, like, pointed at you and he's like, I'm beating the shit out of you tonight. You're like, yeah, you are. That's 100% right. You are going to, let alone do you know that he can throw his arm so hard,
Yeah.
left-handed, that the baseball comes out of there at 100+ miles an hour.
Like, I mean, there are few guys at his age that can that have that kind of elasticity and electricity in their arms to be able to throw like that. He is a
And no major injuries. Like, knock on wood for him. He was a Yankee for a long time. I don't. You
Yeah.
know. But seriously, like, he never had any major injuries. Like, nobody I don't know of in the modern
throwing
era
that hard.
for that long.
Yeah.
But that charging the pitchers thing, I wish they'd bring that back.
He was a little miracle baby, and I
Yeah.
wonder if they knew that right away. So this just came to mind. Speaking of this, you guys talked about that cannon on the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
You remember here at that park in Wichita where somebody took off with that Jackie Robinson statue? That was basically the
yeah.
same kind of situation.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, 'cause
that's what made me think of that. I mean,
Originally, they thought it was like a race issue or whatever. Like, the next day, they made it a whole
oh
fucking...
no,
But
they just thought it was
turned out
valuable.
it was just a fucking meth addict trying to pawn this son of a bitch. Yeah, I forgot about it. I do remember that because it was like a whole thing. And like the news even was like, we rescind our previous comments about it being a race problem. It has nothing to do with Jackie Robinson and his person or whatever.
When it's interesting, like that's kind of circled around to, we didn't do this purposely, but Wichita Eagle, the guy that runs that League 42, Bob Lutz, was the sports writer for the Wichita Eagle. I think maybe still is.
Yeah, I think he still is.
I'm not sure, but I mean, good thing that he, is as good as he is at what he does, because they got that statue replaced in like, nothing.
So I saw a funny thing. It was a video of this guy that does like Paul Harvey. Like, you heard the rest. Now you've heard the rest of the story. Like, he does like a spoof like deal like that. Like, he still does stories like that. He was a big Paul Harvey guy, and he tells this story. And I wish I could remember his first name, but there was a guy from the United States when they went over to Germany and did all the races. What's his name that won over there? The black guy that went over there and won all the...
Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens. So it was when Jesse Owens went over there and did all those races. And this guy finished... He was from the United States. He finished second. And I want to say his name was... We'll just make it up for the story. His name was...
Tom Abernathy.
Tom Abernathy. His name was Tom Abernathy. And he went from the United States. And he was also an African-American. And he finished second in 3 events behind Jesse Owens. 1 silver in like the 200, the long jump, and the high jump or something like that. And they asked him, they had an interview with him when he got back to the United States, like, hey, how was, and he said, oh, it's everything, like everybody hated us while we were there or whatever, and they said, well, are you, like dissatisfied that you didn't win gold in any of your 3 events? Because he only did 3 events or whatever, and Jesse Owens beat him in all 3. And he said, no, because to be honest with you, I'm not the greatest athlete in my family. And he said that, but my brother, he'll really make something of himself. And he said, oh, really? Yeah. He said, what's your brother's name? He said, Jackie. And that guy's name was Tom Abernathy Robinson. His younger brother was Jackie Robinson.
Wow.
And he was only like 15 or 16 at the time when that guy went and did all that shit over there in Germany. But he like knew, he's like, my brother will do something better than I ever did.
Wow.
And it was just crazy, like, that whole family. Like, if you were that mom, like, you have to really be proud that your kids went a part of and did it the right, like, kept their heads the whole time, never lost it, like, never, no matter how much shit they went through, they just did what they went to go do, and they did.
That's a lot like Deion Sanders when they asked him, they were like, are you the greatest athlete? Are you or Bo Jackson the greatest athlete of all time? He's like, nah. He's like, nah. Me or Bo, neither are the greatest. The greatest athlete I ever saw was my cousin. And I don't remember what his name. His name was like Pookie Pushums or some shit.
Yeah, he did. This is real. This isn't even made up. This is 100% real.
And it was like, he was like, yeah, man, he could have been the greatest ever, but he got into the crack.
He did. That's actually what he said. He said he was twice the athlete I ever thought about being, but the crack got him.
Yeah.
Some stupid shit like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, he's been in prison since like 1987 or something. Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, man.
He means that, but it's probably not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he might have been like 15 the last time he saw him,
Right,
Those athletes,
exactly.
you never know how they're going to blossom once they get older.
Chris, what is going to happen with P. Diddy? I was watching some of that Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp.
Dude, that's so funny.
And remember, he was asking something. Cat Williams was like, look, I've been invited 7 times to a Diddy party. He's like, but you got to tell him no. Because, look, Diddy be wanting to party. And when Diddy be wanting to party, you got to tell him no.
The fact
swear.
fact that Cat Williams isn't dead yet from the way he talked, just on that interview alone, is crazy to me.
He is so funny. And Shannon Sharp, God, he is so goddamn funny too. Like, he is just...
I may or may not have spoke up well of him before all this came out.
Well, he I'm not like necessarily a fan of him, and he needs to grow the fuck up. And but just in general, just his personality, like, he's just naturally funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a funny person.
He is funny. I do, and that's what we were talking about when he was with Skip Bayless, and I felt pretty bad for the way Skip Bayless treated him. Just the way he talked down to him and stuff. Like, I don't know. I always kind of felt bad for him when he'd watch that show. Like, it never failed that something was going to be.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Skip.
Yeah, I don't understand how some of these guys get, like, I guess it's so much hate that they keep their job. I don't know, It's the Howard Stern effect, I guess, for them. Like, people call, like, even though the ones who hate him keep listening just to hear the stupid shit he says next. But
Yeah.
I can't.
He's still out there doing what he does, what he's always done.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Just the shit he says is so outrageous. But
I was really curious about the Eureka Lake thing. About who the fuck told you guys about this? That you guys were rearranging the topographical map of the United States.
the motherfucker that lived there, dude, he was fucking losing his mind. He was shaking mad. Guy, one of the residents of the Eureka Lake.
So yeah, that was something I did not know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was up there crying, and everybody was like this.
We were just trying to make sure his blood pressure wasn't getting too high because
You
I
know,
was fucking pissed.
That sound applies to one other thing I had to say. This is just a real quick thing, because this is today, and I thought about hitting you up to do this. Today was supposed to be the last day Stroud's is open.
Oh, that is big Wichita news.
And a lot of people were planning on going there today. They pulled up there, and by the way, this is Wichita by EB. Credit to this. That's where I saw that in case he's gonna, stumble across this here sometime. He went up in there and was gonna want to enjoy it, on its last day. And there's a bunch of people. He says, in I think record numbers, bunch of people go in there to eat today for lunch. They closed. They closed yesterday, and they had told everybody for weeks they were supposed to close today.
That's horrific.
Isn't that?
That's disgusting.
But supposedly they were so busy over the past couple weeks that they ran out of shit. But how does that they ran out of food and whatnot to make? But how does that happen to be just one day before you officially close? So everybody shows up there, they're trying to get in. Nobody there. They decided last night without telling anybody they weren't coming back the next day.
It's crazy. Like, I see, like, it from both sides. Like, yeah, you want, like, the last day is going to be a big day. But if you order, say, 10 people show up on average every day for the last 6 months or whatever, you order, like, 20 people amount worth of food or whatever. When you run out...
It's more so just that, of course, it was the day before.
Right. I get it. That's what I'm saying. I get it from both sides, but yeah.
That's the part of it. It's like, it's either, wow, that's just really kind of coincidental, or, somebody decided.
One last fuck you over before it's all said.
Yeah, we're just, everybody decides to show up now, and they could have supported us for the past few years, and now we're busy, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I yeah.
That would kind of like, as an owner of a business, that would kind of irk you too. Like, hey, listen, if you guys would have just spread this over in 5 years, we wouldn't be doing that.
And Wichita by EV did also bring up something else that I thought would be interesting. What comes of that property? You'd have to do something super specific with that building. Otherwise, you got to just demolish it and use the land for something else.
I really hate that because Stroud's was such a big part of Wichita for a long time.
Yep.
And that's the way it goes out.
Yep. I know. And the reason I brought you up is because I was seriously thinking of this before you had talked about us doing this today, that I was going to hit you. I mean, obviously Caitlin and I and somebody else that kind of appreciated Stroud's at its, peak or whatever, that we would go there tonight, and kind of send it out in a bang. And imagine if we would have pulled up there and it was closed. Would have been just...
There've been some rocket fuel on here.
I've been treating them like the homeless. Hit them with a can of them beans.
Yeah.
Fry this up. Hit them with a can of beans.
But yeah, that's all I've got. That was on my mind today. I was, obviously it's kind of upsetting that it's closed, but really depressing that a lot of people kind of wanted to go send it out in style and they weren't open.
I think it changed ownership here in the last few years, and it really kind of went to hell. And I really, really hate that.
I remember the last time I was there, it wasn't the same. It was, the same kind of setup. Like, you kind of order your entrees and they bring out massive amounts of sides for everybody to... It was the same setup, but just literally the food and service was not as good. Nothing about it changed, except it just seemed like the employees were just worse.
I got a really, really bad ass chewing from my dad when I was about 3 in the outside deal there at Stroud's. I don't remember what he was pissed off about, but he was really mad at me.
That's funny.
And now that's all for naught.
Never again.
Never again. He
Can't do that.
You can't ever invite your dad to chew your ass out there in that parking lot ever.
Or
again.
pass on the tradition to your kid, huh?
Yeah,
You
no,
ain't
that's the worst thing. I'd be like, and now it's like, well, Dad, you know, you could do it to me when I was 3, but you can't do it to me now that I'm 30 because it's closed. You can still do it to me at 30, but just not at Stroud's.
Or like you just take your kid to the parking lot down there sometime. Like you're just like fucking mad at them in Wichita. Like they're dicking around in Chuck E. Cheese or something. You just drive them over to Stroud's and chew their ass. Be like, this is what my dad used to do when I used to get out of line. Just like give them the business in an empty parking lot. Like some dude shooting like meth over there, you know.
You see that? You see that?
That's gonna be you if you don't straighten the fuck up.
Oh, man. No. Love you, Stroud's. Hate it.
It's an old school joint, and it did seem like historical almost.
Isn't there one in Kansas City still, or did they close that one down too?
I'm not sure.
Well, Chris Beneke, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.
If you,
I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm sure I'll do it maybe sometime in the future.
you'll be
Oh,
back
yeah.
again in the future.
Do it again.
And if you got bananas and canned goods, don't throw them at your family. Throw
Throw
them
'em at the homeless.
at the homeless. Help them out a little bit. See you next time.
That's right.
On the other side.